Right, it's time now for Focus, and today we have a report on one of the least documented migrant routes, the one that takes sub-Saharan Africans through Algeria. The authorities there aren't very tolerant of foreign media, but France 24 managed to film some of the difficult situations undocumented migrants find themselves in. This report from Denia de la Rive with Josh Vardey.
Groups of tourists gather to admire the view at the Basilica of Algiers. But in the streets below, others gather in the shadows to avoid the attentions of police who could send them back over the border. In the evenings, some can be found at construction sites. 20-year-old Abdel Karim comes from Ghana, 17-year-old Sofiane from Benin. They say that every day is a struggle because of their foreign nationality.
My everyday life is miserable, very, very miserable. You wake up every morning, it's the same issue. People laugh at you, people see you like something else, but you work hard always, but they pay you very little. And even paying is going to be a problem. They will talk, they will say this and that before they pay you. So it's a very, very big problem in here.
Everyone knows what a migrant is. We are deprived of our rights, and above all, the most important thing for a human being, freedom. That's what everybody wants. I'm getting used to doing tricks here, sitting down, lying down. You can train anywhere, as they say, like this, because the talent is there. That's football. You don't have a choice.
Is that your dream?
Yes, that's my dream, and I have to reach it. I'm sure I will.
Waves of migrants coming from the south have become more frequent in Algeria. Tracing their path in the opposite direction, you arrive at Kabylie. For security reasons, we used a hidden camera. Agbou is a town in the Bajaya region. Here, migrant children beg on the road. Their parents and other adults work illegally for 17 euros a day on the numerous roadworks dotted along the highway. It doesn't take long to find a camp where 5 families live. The camp is like many of those found in European cities, with the main difference that there are no NGOs present. To get here to Algeria, these people have to cross some of the biggest countries in Africa. About 2,000 kilometers south of Kabylie and the Mediterranean lies the most remote part of the country, where the town of Tamanrasset can be found. Almost 2,000 sub-Saharan migrants have arrived here looking to get north. They've learned quickly to avoid the authorities.
In the middle of our prayers, the police came and handcuffed us like this. They arrested us and they said, "Go back on the bus, go back to your country."
Meanwhile, back in the town centre, illegal workers wait to be picked up by passing trucks for work. This border town has become a hub for trade and smuggling over the years. Very few migrants sell products at the markets or in the streets for fear of attracting attention. The Algerian authorities are reluctant to have foreign media in this region, so it's necessary to be discreet. The only road is the Trans-Saharan Highway, the road that carries the migrants to the north and is 4 times the length of France. Osman was recently deported from Algeria and is now making the journey on foot because he was forbidden to take the bus.
That's what they said. They allowed no black West Coast people to enter the vehicle. The police people always harass, beat up people, molest people.
In 2015, more than 100,000 migrants crossed into Algeria, according to official figures. Some of them never reached the Mediterranean. Since 2014, more than 1,000 have been found dead of hunger and thirst on the road through the Sahara Desert.
Right, joining me now from Euromed Rights is Marta Semplici. She's their Programme Officer on the Middle East and North Africa. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. Now, first of all, where do undocumented migrants stand officially, legally in Algeria? What's the government's official stance on their presence in their territory?
Official authorities in Algeria tolerate the presence of different migrants, people, thousands, as you said in the video. Unfortunately, there is no legal framework that protects the rights of asylum seekers and refugees in Algeria. And this is, of course, the main problem for them, even those obtaining a card from the High Commissioner for Human Rights, for Refugees, sorry.
We heard in the report how there are no NGOs present. Why is that, and since when?
There are NGOs, but Algerian NGOs working and trying to provide some support to migrants in different towns of Algeria. But this is on a voluntary basis and with little resources, of course. The problem we face as human rights and other international human rights NGOs is that we don't have official access to the country. This is the same situation for some UN special rapporteurs that frequently ask Algeria to access the country without answer for now.
And the racism that we saw in that report, have you witnessed that? Is that a very big issue in Algeria, the racism that these sub-Saharan migrants experience?
It is becoming an increasing problematic issue in Algeria. We received reports and testimonies from people, actually migrants, people that were beaten from inhabitants of Algeria. This is an increasing problem, and again, there is no law that is condemning violent racist acts of this kind. So we face migrants face impunity and are not able to access justice for asking for punishment.
And where do they tend to come from?
Most of these migrants, according to our research, are coming from Western Africa and Central Africa. More than 10 nationalities we could report in our 2 different visits that we held in Magnia, one town at the border with Morocco, in 2012 and 2013. And
do many of them decide to stay in Algeria?
Yes, they are. Most of them are not even trying to join Europe. Most of them are willing to stay in Algeria. This is becoming a reality in Algeria since the 2000s because Algeria started different infrastructure project developments and migrants can find work over there. But the problem is that with the massive collective expulsions that we faced, that we reported during the December 2016, most of these migrants maybe now want to leave Algeria because the climate of affairs make them choice another country.
And how much pressure are the authorities to treat the migrants? How much pressure are they under from perhaps Europe to treat the migrants better?
There's not much pressure from Europe and from the international community. After this expulsion in 2016, the African Union, for example, didn't condemn publicly these violations of human rights, and nor the European Union, even though human rights and other organizations from the Maghreb and from Europe denounced these expulsions. The situation is that the legal framework is lacking. Algerian authorities are not complying with their international engagements because they ratified the International Convention for Protecting Migrant Workers and Members of their Family, and also signed the Geneva Convention.
So what would you like to see happen then? Who could perhaps get through to them and make a real difference then when it comes to respecting their engagements?
Yes, of course. What we are asking is that Algerian authorities first should stop these expulsions and secondly adopt a legal framework that could protect migrants and refugees in the country. Also allowing NGOs, Algerian NGOs, but also international observers to make their job and to provide support to these migrants. On the other side, we are also asking as a European, Euro-Mediterranean organization, asking from Europe a clear stance. The European Union is going to adopt a new framework of cooperation with Algeria on the 13th of March. And this framework implies also a whole chapter dedicated to migration. We think the European Union should have a clear stance asking Algeria and calling on Algerian authorities to respect and fulfill their international engagements, but also to stop asking Algeria to actually prevent migrants to come to Europe in a fair way.
Now, how do conditions in Algeria, the living conditions of undocumented migrants, how do they compare to those of undocumented migrants in neighbouring countries, other countries in the region like Morocco or Tunisia?
I mean, other countries are facing similar challenges for migrants and asylum seekers. But the specificity in Algeria is that we lack this legal framework, and also that this is very difficult to operate for both for association in Algeria and for international observers. Even the High Commission for Refugees is not allowed to visit the country, is dependent on the willing of authorities, and so they are not able to provide support to those who are most needing their support.
All right, well, thank you very much indeed for coming in to tell us about the situation in the region, particularly Algeria. So from Euromed Rights, Marta Semplici, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. A quick